Well, hello there, my friend. Make sure our volume is okay. Everybody doing all right tonight? Thank you. Welcome back to the channel. So glad you are here. And I am really glad to be talking about the case that we're slated to talk about tonight, which is the murder, yes, the murder of Ellen Ray Greenberg. She was a 27-year-old school teacher in the Philadelphia area, Manayunk, Pennsylvania. And she was stabbed to death 20 times, 10 of which were to the back of her head and the back of her neck. Inexplicably, the powers that be say that she did it to herself, which is just infuriating. So let me just, I don't know. I'm riding a high from today because what happened today is there was a hearing. Okay, let's back up. Gavin, I'm just so excited to be talking about Ellen's case. It's been so long, and I'm just going to ask you right now. I am going to beg you right now, okay? Ellen Greenberg doesn't get the attention that she deserves. Each time I do a video or one of my YouTubing friends does a video on Ellen Greenberg's case, for some reason, the views don't get as many as other cases do. And it's such an important case. So I'm just going to beg you, please share this. Please share this video. Let's get as many people on this live stream as possible because this case needs the attention. Okay? I never ask you guys for that. I ask you for a lot, but I never ask you for that. I'm begging you right now. Share it. Share it on all your socials. Take a moment. Share this live stream. Okay, we need more people watching this. All right, let me back up. I'm going to tell because we don't have any documents to get into today. I just have a report to share with you about a hearing that I went to today in this case. Digitally attended through Zoom. Okay, but let's talk about this case. Okay, Ellen, you can see a picture over here, many pictures of her actually. It's a little slideshow. Ellen was 27 years old. Okay, she had graduated from Penn State University. She had gone on to earn 2 more master's degrees, and she was working as a teacher at Juniata something Academy. Why am I blanking on Juniata? I'm blanking on the name of the school. Anyway, she was teaching elementary school. All right. Now, she was living at the time with her fiance, a man named Sam Goldberg. This is a picture of Ellen and Sam. By all accounts at the time, they were just 2 young people in love, 2 professionals. He worked in broadcast. She was a teacher. They were living in kind of an upper scale, kind of really nice area in an apartment building in Manayunk. Okay. Now, Ellen, on January 26th of 2011, left school early, as they all did, because a nor'easter storm was coming in. And so school was letting out early because nor'easters that hammer the Northeast are really difficult to deal with. So she had come home early. She gets home. She checks in with all of her students' families to make sure that her students get home. And then we know that she works on grades. We know this from digital forensic evidence. Okay. The next thing that happens is, well, I'm going to say the story goes from Mr. Goldberg. There's a picture of Ellen with Juniata Park Academy. It just came to me. Okay. There are her little students, first graders, I think, if I remember correctly. Anyway, oh, yeah, they're engaged to be married. Send the dates had gone out. This is really, really close to the wedding. Okay, so the story from Mr. Goldberg goes that he was in the apartment with Ellen. He leaves the apartment and he goes down to the first floor of the apartment building. to work out. Okay. That part I didn't really believe. That's like me telling you guys, I went to work out. I don't look at this. No. Okay. Anyway, so and by the way, if I can just show you guys this, there is a full case page on my website with so many videos that we've done on this case. There are photos of Ellen and her family. There are childhood photos, crime scene photos, some autopsy stuff that you can look at, some case documents. I need to fix that little broken site. Anyway, okay, there's so much that you can look at here on the website. So the story is Sam goes downstairs to work out in the apartment gym on the first floor. When he comes back up, half an hour, 45 minutes later, he goes to open the door, and the door is locked from the inside with a swing bar lock, like a hotel room. He texts her, he emails her, he calls through the door, he calls her parents, he calls his parents, he calls so many people, according to him, that he's beginning to be really worried about his fiance, right? So he decides that he's going to kick in the door. Now, the file says, the police file and the Emmy's office file says that he did so in the presence of an employee of the apartment building. We learn later that that is not the case, but he says he breaks in. When he gets in, he sees Ellen, his beloved fiance, lying on the floor in the kitchen, and he says he immediately calls 911. We know that that is bunk. What he really did, at least the evidence suggests to me, is he called his uncle Jimmy, a guy named James Schwartzman here, the guy with the gray hair. Mr. Schwartzman is standing with the younger Mr. Schwartzman, a man named Camion, who is Sam's cousin and friend. They're close. All right. Anyway, he calls 911. I'm not going to play the 911 file, but you can play it on my website. If you just go over here and click on this one, you can hear it. Okay. All right. Calls 911, gives a Razzie level performance. Oh my goodness gracious me! I can't believe she must have fallen on something. You want me to do CPR? What? I guess I have to. All right. Well, I'll unzip her shirt. Oh goodness gracious me! There's a knife in her chest. Is kind of how the story. That's the way it sounds. You can listen to the whole thing. It's terrible, guys. It's terrible. Okay. Long story short, police come. Emmy's office comes. They do a cursory investigation, and Ellen's body is taken to the medical examiner's office, where it is examined by Dr. Marlon Osborne, seen here. Okay? Dr. Osborne comes to the conclusion that Ellen is a victim of a homicide, and of course she is. These are the stab wounds that Ellen Greenberg suffered. All right? But then, after like a full-on media blitz by the Philadelphia PD, Dr. Osborne, and also after a clandestine meeting with his boss, members of the DA's office, members of the Philly PD, changes the manner of death to that she did it to herself. And Ellen's parents, Josh and Sandy, have been fighting this ever since, because they know that their daughter did not do this to herself, because they have eyes, because it's obvious. But you know what? They have been fighting since 2011. It's been 14 years that Josh and Sandy have been fighting to get the medical examiner to say, yeah, she didn't do it to herself. Now, they had hope, like a bright, shining, sparkly ray of hope this past February, when Dr. Osborne, in an affidavit, in a declaration, whatever it was called, a legal document, said, and it is my opinion now that Ellen did not do this to herself. It has to be something other than that. And I mean, we were all ecstatic. I could not believe he had his heels dug in so deep. He probably stands 5'6", but those heels were so deep he stood -2 inches tall. That guy dug in for 14 years. And on the eve of a trial, he did the old switcheroo. Now, you know what? We should be happy when somebody comes around to our side, and I am, and I think a lot of people were. I think Josh and Sandy even were. We wonder why it took so long, but it did. So there was hope. Now the next day, honestly, I was in Philadelphia for this. The next day, we're all gathering at the courtroom, and there is a panel of potential jurists filled up in the courtroom, ready to be selected for I mean, Josh and Sandy were in a lawsuit against employees of the city of Philadelphia. I like to say it's the city of Philadelphia. For all intents and purposes, it is Philadelphia, though members of the legal team say this is not a lawsuit against Philadelphia. This is employees of Philadelphia, whatever. Okay. As the jury pool was seated there, ready to be selected for this trial, they came to a settlement. Josh and Sandy came to a settlement with the city of Philadelphia. And that settlement was, and goodness, man, I know how to talk. It is what has it been? It's been almost 12 minutes. I know how to talk. That settlement was this. The city of Philadelphia would pay an undisclosed monetary sum to Josh and Sandy, which I don't know how much it was. I have heard Josh and Sandy say that they have spent over these 14 years 800 grand or close to 800 grand fighting for the city of Philadelphia to do the right thing all along. So they got a monetary payment. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it made them whole. I have no idea. Of course, nothing will make them whole. They lost their daughter, right? They lost their daughter. But financially, I guess, let's put it that way, right? The second part of that is that in an expeditious manner, the city of Philadelphia's medical examiner's office that had a completely new team. That the medical examiner at the time that she died, as I said, was Marlon Osborne. The chief medical examiner was a guy named Sam Gulino. Neither of them work for the city of Philadelphia anymore. It's a completely new system. So Philadelphia said, we will go ahead and conduct a review. And maybe, we can't guarantee anything, but we will conduct the review in an expeditious manner. And maybe, just maybe, this medical examiner's opinion will be different because Dr. Osborne doesn't work for us anymore. He can't change it. I disagree with that. I think he could change it. He signed the death certificate. I think he could, but according to Philadelphia, no can do. All right. Now, I was at the little press gaggle. I was holding up my little iPhone behind all the press. There were so many people there. 48 Hours was there. 2020 was there. Dateline was there. All of the NBC, ABC, CBS affiliates, the local news. There were so many people there. From Joel from Surviving the Survivor was there. I was there. It was a party of press, and there I was. And one of us, I think it was me, but I don't remember specifically, asked, what does expeditiously mean? And, the people who were asking was the man on the left here, Joe Pedraza. What does expeditious mean? And he told us they will do their best to get it done quickly. They've given their word that that's what they will do. Okay. Now, this brings us back to where we are. City of Philadelphia did not pay up quickly. Okay. It took months. From what I understand, it's not like I'm their banker or anything, but from what I understand, it took months for the city of Philadelphia to make the payment that was promised. They have not, to this very day, completed their expeditious review of Ellen's case. So, what happened? Well, Joe Pedraza and Will Trask, Joe in the red and blue tie, Will in the yellow and blue tie, both handsome ties. They filed a motion seeking to compel the city of Philadelphia um, to comply with the terms of the settlement, the agreement that they made. And the city of Philadelphia responded with a, well, we have been doing it expeditiously. We have been in contact. Oh, my goodness gracious me. This is the first time I've heard of it, Your Honor. It was the thing, dumbest filing I've read in many a moon, and I read many a filings. It was so dumb that basically they said, no, we're doing it expeditiously, but also we want to do it efficiently. Whatever. They didn't say that they would do it efficiently. They said they do it expeditiously. That brings us to today. A hearing was held. Oh my goodness, I'm so long-winded. We're now 16 minutes into this, and now I am just telling you, there was a hearing today. It was a hearing on the motion. All right, come with me over to Acrobat because I took notes, because in Philadelphia or in Pennsylvania, period, one cannot record in a courtroom or in Zoom. And so I took notes, and then I plugged my notes into ye old Chat GPT, which organized it for me so that we can go over what happened in the hearing today. I have to say, okay, the hearing was before a judge in the Philadelphia Court of Common Pleas named Linda Carpenter. For the life of me, I cannot find a picture of Judge Carpenter. I think that she is one of those people that is just camera averse, and I cannot find a single picture of her. And had I screenshotted anything out of the Zoom conference, I would be in a world of trouble. So I didn't do that. So I can't show you Judge Carpenter, but let me just describe Judge Carpenter, okay? Judge Carpenter is a woman in probably her 50s or 60s, a little heavy set, with like dark hair that is graying. She is a person like me that has no idea what to do with her hair other than part it down the middle and tuck it behind her ears. And I, that's what she looks like, I guess. She's wearing a robe. She's got her dark, kind of long hair. It's graying, it's parted, it's tucked behind her thing. And she gets on that Zoom conference loaded for bear. But before she does, she says, we've got a lot of people in here for this hearing, and let me describe who is on here. I have notes, okay? All right. Attending this conference, let's bring up a picture of Ellen while we are talking about this. Attending this Zoom hearing were Judge Carpenter, Joe Pedraza, Will Trask, and then for the defendants, an attorney named Michael Pestrak. He works for the city of Philadelphia. Also there were a stenographer and Judge Carpenter's law clerk and a member of tip staff, a, a tip stave, they say, right? Now, beyond that, there were Josh and Sandy, there was me, there was their cousin, there was another cousin, there was one of Ellen's old friends, and then there were like 3 or 4 people that I didn't recognize. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people besides me. In addition to that, the local Philadelphia media that I recognized, there was Annie McCormick from 6ABC. There was Brian Sheehan from NBC 10. There was John Lucy from Penn Live, who quickly got an article up on Penn Live, guys, that was terrific. He did a really good job. I asked him to come on tonight. He couldn't make it. Joseph Holden from CBS 3, Kristen Johansson from KYW, the Philadelphia radio station, and Stephanie Farr from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Stephanie Farr, by the way, is a freaking hero. I feel like I'm yelling. Is a hero in this case because she is the first, to my knowledge, to my understanding, she was the first local reporter who decided to report on this. And she is the one that got this ball rolling. She was there, okay? From the national media, I'm not going to mention names, but we had CBS News / 48 Hours. We had ABC News 2020. We had People Magazine. And we had um, Lionsgate Films, whatever. I don't know the actual term of the company, but Lionsgate. Okay. So, I mean, we had a buttload of people. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Gavin Fish, the lowly YouTuber. And Judge Carpenter comes on and is like, we have got a lot of people here for a hearing on a case that it was settled. What is going on? She was loaded for bear. Okay. I have a couple quotes directly from um, Judge Carpenter. She goes, after she's like, "What's going on, counsel?" And Joe was like, "Well, Your Honor, there were two parts of the settlement. One was the payment that has been received. The other was an expeditious review of the case that has not been done." And he was being generous, guys. February 3rd was the settlement. Now, I'm sure that he had different dates when it was actually signed, blah, 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 blah. But no, it has been 7 months. Okay. But he was like, it's been 5 months, 6 months. And Judge Carpenter's like, that is not expeditious. Here's a quote from her. I'm not finding that particularly expeditious, but I get it that there may be a reason and therefore there's no sanction for that. But 6 months is not expedition in anybody's definition of expedition. It's not. So what can be done to make it go more quickly? And she asks Mr. What's his name? What am I saying? Mr. Why am I having a hard time remembering his name? I have it down here. Michael Pestrak, right? And he kind of was like, "Well, Your Honor, blah," and she's like, "No, I'm having none of it." She had the most amazing monologue. I could not type it fast enough, but there were a couple things. She's like, every time she would ask him a question, he would go, and then she would just interrupt him and go on. It was like watching the Supreme Court. It was amazing. She's like, I don't understand. I mean, from the beginning, I never really understood why this just couldn't be changed to undetermined right from the beginning. She's like, why are we even here? This should have been changed to undetermined right from the beginning. And she's like, because of the circumstances. Come on, I don't understand what needs to be relooked at. The attorney was like, well, not only are they looking at the ME's office stuff, but they're looking at the police file. They're looking at some of the things that we got in discovery. I just delivered those a couple of weeks ago. And she's like, why? Why? They have their file. Look at the circumstances. She was just like, this, but like, Nadoy, like, duh. What are you guys doing? And she's like, my understanding of this case is the reason that it was changed from one to the other had to do with all the other information surrounding it, which, by the way, the main thing that Dr. Osborne said when he said he changed it over to homicide or to self-inflicted was that there was a witness that witnessed Sam Goldberg break down the door. But during the course of the few lawsuits that the Greenbergs brought, it was learned pretty darn early on, nay, there was nobody who witnessed him doing that. Well, I can't even say he said it. It's just a medical examiner um, investigator who said he said that. But no, nobody was with him. And that was the main reason that Osborne said we're changing it from homicide to she did it to herself. So Judge Carpenter's bringing this up, right? She's like, it had nothing to do with the evidence that actually was in front of the medical examiner at the time, right? Like she was not letting anybody get away with this. And Joe says she asked Joe, what is that you're asking for here? And he goes, I'm just asking for a little nudge. And she goes, nobody has nudged this more than me. I nudged 2 years ago. This is the exact same thing that I proposed for you to do 2 years ago. And then at the settlement, when I oversaw your settlement. So why is it now September? And it still hasn't been done. The city in this case has not listened to Judge Carpenter. She referred to herself in the third person for the last 2 years. She went on to say, and I think it might be on this document, but she went on to say, she's like, we don't have a lot of time in the court here. Okay. I spent a full day in a settlement conference with you guys trying to get you to this very settlement, and you didn't do it. Then I spent another half a day with you. You didn't do it. I've been pushing this along as much as I possibly could as long for the entire time that it's been on my docket. And then ultimately you settle for the exact same thing that I told you guys to do. Why are we talking about this now? She was so frustrated and was so on fire. I just can't even tell you how like I was texting people that were on there with me, and I was like, "Go, Judge Carpenter, go!" I was having a good time. Okay, she continues. Let's see. Under no one's definition of expeditious is 6 months expeditious or 5 months. And she's like, I'll give you, because the city was like, well, we had a strike. We lost an entire month because we had a strike. She's like, okay, 5 months. 5 months is not expeditious, right? Joe Pedraza said, we were expecting a few days, a week. And Judge Carpenter was like, yeah, somebody says expeditious. Yeah, I give them a week, maybe two, I think is what she said, right? Anyway, so she's like, and when I have somebody in front of a room full of people, she's talking about everybody that was on there. Try to tell the court that somehow the court's supposed to accept that 5 months is expeditious. It's ridiculous. And you obviously just don't care. That's what she said to the lawyer. And that's probably why the Greenbergs are so frustrated. And boy, did she hit the nail on the head there, in my opinion. Like, you don't care. That's the problem. You don't care. And your predecessor, people before, the whole, she was like, I'm putting words in her mouth, which I shouldn't be, but she was basically saying Philadelphia does not care. And the Greenbergs have been fighting for 14 years, and that's the problem. And she even brings up a couple other things. Like, I don't want to skip this one. Let's go back to this one. Okay, this next quote that I got, and guys, these are quotes as fast as I could type them. They may not be verbatim, but they're close. Okay, she's like, she was talking to Joe Pedraza. Respectfully, you just file a petition. And why can't the court just do it? She's talking about changing the manner of death. Why can't I just change it to undetermined? Do I have the power to do that? Why can't that be what we do? I say fine, there's been a violation of the settlement agreement. The city hasn't lived up to what it has done, and now it is now an equitable relief. That's part of the case, and it comes back to the court. We put it on the list, and you know what? Why can't I just change it to homicide? And I mean, guys, I mean this the very first case that the Greenbergs brought that I'm aware of, like actual case, was Greenberg v. Osborne. And that one was seeking exactly that. They were seeking mandamus from the court to direct the medical examiner's office to change the manner of death. And the city appealed based on standing. The Greenbergs aren't harmed here, they argued. They have no standing to bring this. And an appellate court agreed. Then the Supreme Court of the state of Pennsylvania agreed to take up that very question. Do the Greenbergs have the standing to bring this case at all? And it was, guys, it was going to be precedent setting, at least in the Commonwealth. It was going to break through the ceiling. That appellate court that ruled that they didn't have standing spent about a third of a page saying you don't have standing. And then they spent like 30, 31, 32 pages putting on the record just how colossally hosed the Greenbergs were by the city of Philadelphia Police Department, by the medical examiner's office, by the district attorney's office. They wanted it on the record, and they wanted it to go to the Supreme Court. They were hoping it would be appealed to the Supreme Court, but because of the settlement that was reached in February, they withdrew the case, so it never made it to the Supreme Court. But now Judge Carpenter, she's like, hey, I think I got the power to do this. Why can't I just say, okay, equitable relief, it's homicide? And everybody was trying to keep their poker faces on. but it was not successful. We were all just like, oh, please, 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 Judge Carpenter. Okay. Okay. She keeps going. I don't have time to keep doing this. This case has taken far more of the court's time. I spent almost a day with you all trying to get this case settled. I mentioned this before. I spent half a day with you when it first came in. We sent this off to trial when this could have been resolved months before. You could have done it 2 years ago. And she was she was directing that at the city of Philadelphia. This one I think is really important. Let's see. Is this the one? Well, it's these two. Now so much time has gone by. How will they, talking about the Greenbergs, Josh and Sandy, how will they even have any faith that that was done fairly? Justice delayed is justice denied. And you know what, guys? The city of Philadelphia, that has been their strategy, in my opinion, from the very beginning. Delay, delay, delay. We can delay this for 40 years until Josh and Sandy no longer walk the earth. That's what I think they've been doing. And Judge Carpenter here is like, no, justice delayed is justice denied. And you know that, pointing to the city's attorney. How are the Greenbergs going to wake up now? If that medical examiner comes back and says, my opinion hasn't changed, do you think they're going to accept that if it was done expeditiously and you could show that they, 3 months, they acted really quickly? Basically, she's saying the Greenbergs, because you've spent so much time, they're never going to have faith that you did your level best and um, tried to do a review and came back with the same result that Dr. Osborne did. They're never going to believe it because you guys are playing these freaking games with your delay tactics. That's basically what she was saying. She continues, I don't have time to keep doing this. This case, she says, let's see, going back over here, um, has taken far more of the court's time. And not that the Greenbergs don't deserve it, but the court just has a limited amount of time to put into cases. I spent almost a day with you trying to get this settled, spent a half a day when it first came in. And yeah, that was just the beginning of that same one. We sent this off to trial. This could have been resolved months before we sent it to trial. I spent a lot of time asking the city, why couldn't they just do this? That's what Judge Carpenter said. Now, Joe, I think I pretty much said what Joe said. Now, Mr. Pestrak was like, expeditiously to us, we would start the review as soon as possible, but it also includes efficiency. That's my typo. Like, no, you didn't agree to efficiency. Yeah, he said that the strike caused them to be understaffed. Our position here, or has and is, that we are in compliance with this agreement. We have been continuing to review the case. He even goes, I propose that Mr. Pedraza come to my office. I will have Dr. Simon available. She can tell what she has done, what she still has to do. And Judge Carpenter said, well, when can you do that? He said, we could do it this week. And then she goes, why didn't you do it months ago? Why did you come to my hearing and say you could do that? Why didn't you just do it? it was it was amazing. Okay, so they go off. Basically, what happens at that point is Judge Carpenter sends Mr. Pedraza, Mr. Trask, and Mr. Pestrak into their own room to discuss, to negotiate, to talk about it, right? Judge Carpenter goes, I'm going to go into another room and I'm going to look at this docket. The rest of us just sat on that Zoom call for an hour, maybe more. And then an hour comes by, and when they come back on, Judge Carpenter comes back, Joe and Will come back, Mr. Pestrak comes back, and all at the same time, and Judge Carpenter goes, we were in an in-camera meeting, which means it was Judge and them, right, in a private meeting, and this is what we have decided to do. She said, we're going to roll this. We're going to roll this. She says, we've had some in-camera discussion, and I think that I've been convinced that I will roll this until, when was it that we said? The 14th, Mr. Pedraza, is what she says. And he says, yeah, it was the 14th. So rolling means she's continuing the hearing. That means the hearing will pick up on October 14th. She said, I understand there's been a process that's been going on, and while I did express some concern that it wasn't as expeditious as the court thinks expeditious means, I do understand that there are other things that go on in the city and that I will accept that this can get rolled until the 14th. She means October 14th, and we will continue the proceeding then. The parties then agreed that that's what they were going to do. So that's where we are. Nothing was settled today. Nothing was, put in stone. But I think, um, I think a couple things. I think number one, I think Judge Carpenter is just fully fed up with it, and by it I mean the city. I think she thinks the Greenbergs deserve to have Ellen's manner of death changed to a homicide. She said, "Why can't I do it? I could just let's just call it equitable relief, and I'll make a homicide." So that's number one. Number two, the fact that there were so many spectators, many of which were media. I think that adds some pressure. And you guys will see. I mean, John Lucy has already published his article. I've published a blog post on my website. If we go over to the old website over here, if you click on blog, or you can just scroll. Oh, I'm not on the homepage. I'm on Ellen's case page. If you go to blog, you'll see that I have written a post as well, and you can read what I think came out of that hearing. John Lucy on Penn Live, they are out of Harrisburg. He has written his. I am sure that we will see articles out of Stephanie Farr. I'm sure that this will make it. We'll see it on ABC, NBC, CBS, Philly, and I think the national media as well. I mean, it's no secret that a documentary film is being, or series is being made. I can't I can't give you any details on that because I don't have any details on that, but several people working on that, including the Lionsgate crew, were in this hearing, so that I'm sure it will be included in that. I think that there's enough that are of the media that care, that makes a person like Judge Carpenter go, we got to get this done. Now, I'm not saying that's the only incentive she has. She's a spitfire, and in my opinion, and just she wants to clear cases, and she wants to see the right thing done. So there will be a lot coming out soon. Now, I have blathered on and on and on and on for 38 minutes and 9 seconds. Let us, shall we, head on over to your comments. If you put GF in your comment, that will help me see the comment. I'm going to go ahead and scroll on up. All right. Robin calls me the man, the myth, the legend. I am a legend in my own mind for sure. Thanks, Robin. Robin's one of our amazing moderators. Susan says, I believe it was Juniata Park. Yeah, it came to me. Came to me, Susan. Juniata Park Academy. JoJo's Crime Lines and Mysteries. Wasn't there some surveillance footage of him too? Saying, I think Sam Gold. I'm trying to remember all the details of the case. Been a long time and a lot of other cases on the mind. Yeah. Joe Pedraza and Will Trask gave me access to all of the surveillance footage, and I'm looking over here because on Ellen's case page you can see everything. What I ended up doing was going through the raw surveillance files and turning them into videos, because they're stored funny on old DVRs. This is from 2011, and yeah, so you can see all of the surveillance footage on Ellen's case page on my website, gavinfish.com. Thank you for the comment, Jojo. Let's see. I'm scrolling on down. Susan says, well, there's expeditious and then there's expeditious. Yeah, I think the city doesn't know I don't think they know either of the expeditious that you speak of there, um, Susan. Let's see. Autumn Doyle, did you see One Man's Trash was able to pull up pics of the judge? What? You were able to find pictures of Judge Carpenter? Let me see if they've been sent my way in Slack on the back end. Nope, hasn't been done yet, but I would love to see it. Jojo says, Gavin, you're not just a lowly YouTuber, you're a journalist too. Oh, I have many titles. I don't know if I do call myself a journalist. I mean, I do journal the happenings out here in Western Pennsylvania. Volsgal says, Gavin, I still get so emotional about this, and your channel is where I first heard about Ellen. I just can't understand the injustice her sweet parents have dealt with. Hey, let me talk about Ellen's parents here for a second. We're going to bring them up. Okay. This is Josh and Sandy, Dr. and Mrs. Greenberg. Um, I think I've told you guys before that when I learned about this case, I learned about it from a viewer. I was working on the Amanda Winkowski case, and a viewer said, "Hey, you should check out Ellen Greenberg. It's right up your alley." I did, and I found the court docket, and I bought at the tune of, I don't. It was way more money than I should have been spending. I bought the everything that had been filed from the Philadelphia court, and it was hundreds of dollars. So I start going through it, start organizing it, and then I decide, well, this is public record. I wouldn't do this. I won't do this ever again. I wouldn't do it now. But back then, said, well, this is public record, and I err toward transparency, so I'm going to publish this stuff. Now, that could have been disastrous for a case. I don't know if disastrous. It could have been hurtful. Let's say, could have been hurtful to the family because I was right. It was public record, but it could have been hurtful to the family. But not long after I published it, a member of Ellen's uh, beloved family reached out to me and said, "Thank you for doing that." And ever since then, I mean, it's been 3, 4 years probably now. I think it's close to 4 that I've known Josh and Sandy, and they have been so, what gracious is the word that's coming to my mind, but it's more than that. They have been so giving and so loving to me and my wife and our children. It is like having an extra set of parents. Um, like I don't want to overstate it because I have awesome parents and my wife has awesome parents. We are not in need of any other parents, but Josh and Sandy have become we love them like we love our parents. They are the best. They've just been so amazing to us. And they've been so graceful over the course of all this time that they have had to fight the city of Philadelphia. They have been they've been gritty, but they've done it with grace, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing to watch. The patience and the stick to itiveness, the the poise, the determination, the stiff spine, the everything about them. These are, I mean, I said Stephanie Farr was a hero, but no, these are heroes. These are greater heroes. In the pantheon of heroes, Josh and Sandy are like in the Justice League. And then like Stephanie Farr is like 3 steps above me, and then I'm in like the minor league, like the AAA training to be. That's what it is. I'm in the training dojo. These guys, the have been amazing, have just been fantastic. And I have to say, their lawyers, Joe and Will, are impressive too. And I didn't bring up a picture, I didn't have it prepared on my new system, but Tom Brennan, and then there are others that just don't want to be named, but I know who they are, and they are amazing. They're just awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay. Susan says, nothing like a PO judge. She was PIST, I'm telling you. Don't want to be on their bad side. Robin says, I feel like they were all being deliberately obtuse. Yeah, that's exactly right, Robin. You are not wrong. Not wrong at all. Yeah, JoJo's like PIST. That is correct. She was PIST. We do need a PIST emoji. It's true. We have to come up with a PIST emoji. That's funny. And yeah, I would have to, let's see, wrong button. Clicking the wrong one. Pay royalties to the little sis. Jojo says yes, delay until it goes away. That's what the city's been doing. It's pretty crazy. JoJo's Crime Lines and Mysteries. Okay. She says, how do you get to be invited to the Zoom call for the next hearing? Do you have to have a press pass? No, JoJo. Terrific question. I never would have addressed this, but with your question, I will. Okay, here's the deal. You just have to, you have to be a person that digs because it's a public meeting. It's on Zoom, but it's a public meeting. And in this case, it was on the order. So Joe and Will made their motion for, for compelling the settlement. The city gave their response, and the judge said, "Okay, I'm going to meet with you guys. Here's the order." And on the order, she ordered a hearing, and here's where the hearing will be. And the Zoom link was in the order. So that's how we know. Now, we could. I don't want to abuse this, but it's an open meeting, and anybody who knows about it and wants to be there may go. So maybe the next time, the October 14th continuation hearing, the continuation of the hearing, there will be a new order for that. And when I get that order, I will let you all know. And maybe more people can show up. Because there should be, yeah. Cindy from sunny South Florida, there should be pressure on everybody involved. October 14th, not September 14th. Yes, it's October 14th. And they came to that agreement in camera. So I don't know how they came to that agreement. Mooney says, thanks for sharing the info. Well, that's what I do. I'm happy to do that, Mooney. By the way, Mooney, guys, you all know this. Mooney is our OG member. She is also a moderator of the channel. But I did an in-person presentation here in Western Pennsylvania. I did it over in Clarion County on the case of Ellen Greenberg, and I think I did it on the 13th anniversary of her death. Mooney traveled all the way here to Western Pennsylvania to do that, to be there for that. So I'm glad that you care, Mooney. Thank you very much. Terry Cat says, this is wonderful news. The family, Ellen, deserves justice. Indeed, they do. I don't know how I say your name. Is it Chokma? Chokma? I don't know how to say it. Chokma? Hawkma? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm butchering it. But thank you for your comment. Philly municipal gaslighting is unreal. It's so wicked. No one believes Sam's alibi. Even he doesn't believe it. Patty says, Judge Carpenter is PIST. I love it. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. One man's trash. Judge Carpenter is white. Autumn sent me 2 photos. Let's see. Let's just see. No, neither of those are Judge Carpenter. Thanks for sending, though. Appreciate that. Let's bring this back. Robin says, Greenbergs are a class act. Yes, indeed. Jojo says, thank you so much. Can you live stream it? No, unfortunately, recording, simulcasting, live streaming, anything other than taking notes is not acceptable in any court in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which is sucky. It is. There are so many cases in the Commonwealth that deserve attention, but don't get it because court TV can't be there. Other cameras can't be there. So, yeah, you cannot. I would be found in contempt of court. I'd be fined. I'd be jailed if I did something like that. So, won't be doing that. Volsgal says, God bless her amazing, courageous parents. God bless you, Gavin. Well, thank you for all you do to stand up for and by them. Love good-hearted people. I love good-hearted people too. You know, I was just talking to our oldest son a few minutes before we started the live stream. We had just said, I really love good people. And there's so many out there. I mean, we get jaded. We get jaded because we're talking about, or at least I do. I can't speak for you. We're talking about horrible, horrific things. And sometimes we're seeing things like police misconduct. Sometimes we're seeing things like we're seeing in Ellen's case where it's just delay, 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 delay. But the world is full of just amazing folks. Josh and Sandy stand among those ranks. One man's trash says we have bail money. Guys, I would be so censured. It just would not be there. Autumn Doyle saying I'd be there to bail you out. You guys are awesome. Susan, thank you very much for gifting those memberships. You guys are terrific. Hey, remember to share this one, will you, guys? Ellen's case needs so much more attention than it gets. I mean, it's getting great attention from there's a docuseries happening, which is so amazing. But and the local Philly media is doing it, but I would love to see YouTube just blow up covering Ellen Greenberg's case. Just blow up. And I know a lot's happened. Like Joel would be doing this right now too if it weren't for the Donna Adelson trial. And I know that there are tons that have done it. Annie has done some. Sherilyn has done stuff. I know Stephanie's done stuff. Gisela's done stuff. There have been a lot. But I just wish there were more because I care about this case and I care about this family. All right, guys. Thank you so much for spending your time with me tonight. I am deeply appreciative of it. We're less than 2 weeks away from me going part-time on my day job so that I can focus a little bit more here. So hopefully we will be doing some great stuff here in the future beyond what we've been doing so far. I do want to bring to your attention before we go that if we go back over to my website, there is a link to Crime Cod right here up at the top. That is my full-blown true crime website. We've got a couple writers over there. Jake is doing great as our editor-in-chief. And we have tons and tons and tons of stories that come out. Well, several every day. So you can subscribe to the Crime Cod newsletter. I am actually focused on getting that out more often now. I admit that I had let it go for quite a while, but go over to crimecod.com or go over to gavinfish.com. And, if you go to the homepage of my website, not only does it show me my blog posts, but it also shows the latest articles on Crime Cod. Did you guys see this? That the University of Kentucky cheerleader who is charged with abuse of a corpse apparently gave birth to a child and then discarded it. So terribly sad. But yeah, there's a lot going on over there. And of course, my blog is still alive and well. So head on over to the website. There's lots for you to do there. If you click on this little fishy, that will take you over to the tank. It'll take you to the tank where we hang out on Facebook. If Facebook is your thing, you have an open invitation to head on over there. Oh, and while I got you, I'm just going to do one more thing. If you go over to the support me page, there is now a P.O. box that we have set up in Franklin, Pennsylvania. I set it up because I've gotten, I wouldn't say a lot, I've gotten a significant number of people that want to anonymously send me stories. sometimes they say evidence or documents, and I wanted a way for that to make it to me where there's not a digital trail. So I set up a P.O. box in Franklin, Pennsylvania, and I will check it from time to time. And if there's anything in there that you think, well, basically, if you have stuff that you want to remain anonymous, that's a great way to do it. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Also, oh man, Gavin, scroll down to the bottom. There's the newsletter you can subscribe to. Buy Autumn a coffee if you're game. It's an invitation. It's not a guilt trip, but she is our lead moderator, and all of everybody on my team volunteers. So take care of her. All right. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, September 4th, with another video at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I believe it's going to be Elizabeth Jones from Hillbilly Crime. There have been some updates on the Mickey Stein / Kevin Mullins case. Do I have a Kevin Mullins case? I don't have it set up for you to be able to go over to it. But anyway, that'll be tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you don't want to miss that, just set a reminder, hit subscribe, ring the bell, all the YouTube things. All right, with that, bid you adieu. Thank you very much for being with me tonight. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.